And good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday. It is February 12th, and it's time for the No Bones About It show here on WIXQ 91.7 The Ville. Yes, folks, radical, renowned, and real college radio. Hope you all are doing great today. We are live in the WIXQ studios, Millsville University, Millsville, PA 175051. We're also live on the Facebook, folks, the No Bones About It show Facebook page. DJ Bone on the TikTok, tick. And I can't go live on Instagram because I forgot I had to have 1,000 followers. So very sad. But that's okay, folks. I can only do 2 things or 3 things at once. But I hope you're all having a great week. The warmer temperatures are coming, folks. Yes, our pond is unfreezing. The ducks and the swans. The one duck was frozen for a week, but now he can actually move again. So yes, folks, give it a clap or give it a round of applause. I wasn't sure if I was going to jump in there and try to help him out, but nope. He figured it out on his own, so I was very happy. So yes, folks, the ducks and swans are happy. People just seem to be happier as it is getting a little bit nicer outside. And so, yeah, that's something good to look forward to. Super Bowl said very boring. So, I'll do my quick thing on the Super Bowl. We did the Super Bowl this past Sunday. How much of it did I watch? I watched none of it, folks. And you know why? Because it was boring, as our friend Borat would say, boring. It just was not my thing. I didn't really care for either team. That was going on, and so I just didn't care. Now I will say that I'm happy that Seahawks won, just because I am not a Patriots fan. Was Sam Darnold that great? No, but he did get a Super Bowl. I mean, their defense definitely carried them. They should have got the defense, and the kicker should have got the title, should have got the MVP award. But I know it went to Kenneth Walker. He was okay, but nothing great. That's just what DJ Bones has to say about it. And so, yeah, it's very boring. I didn't really see any of the commercials. So don't ask me on the commercials. The halftime, I didn't watch anything. People ask, I'm not a Bad Bunny fan. And I don't like the name, and I don't like his music. So there you go. Just was not a fan, but I didn't watch any. What did I do last Sunday? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I know that I was visiting some of my students. I did have a few incidents I did have to address because, yes, folks, sometimes people do some wild things during the Super Bowl. And so, we may look up. I bet there's some pretty crazy stories I could probably look up for what happened during the Super Bowl or during Super Bowl parties. I know that that's usually the biggest consumption of wings in the world is during Super Bowl Sunday, so that's pretty interesting. I know that a lot of plumbing issues happen during that, so a lot of plumbers definitely make a lot of money on those days because, hey, most plumbers aren't going to work on a Sunday without getting overtime, so get ready for that. And yeah, just, I don't know, it happened. Football season's over. Maybe because Steelers season was just such a bleh that I don't care. But yeah, I didn't really care because, like I said, my team wasn't in it. I didn't really care who won, but I'll prefer Seattle, so I'll take that. So yes, that's really all. That was my Super Bowl experience. I hope you all had a fun time. Or anybody who was throwing a party. Again, I do miss going to a party. I miss getting a lot of wings and pizza. So yes, I did miss that part of it, but it does happen. Before I'll talk about what our theme is for today, but I do have to give a shout out because my brother was the first one to break the news to me that our friend James Vanderbeek did pass away yesterday at the age of 48. And as most people know, I know him from my favorite football movie of all time, Varsity Blues, but he got the fame and famous Dawson's Creek, and so that is what you heard me play, Dawson's Creek intro. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. And some of you will never understand how big Dawson's Creek was. When I was in school, in probably middle school, right before high school, the Dawson Creek Trapper Keeper was so big. And, if you ask what a Trapper Keeper is, folks, well, you see, back in my days, we didn't have computers. We didn't have phones. So you had to carry your stuff with you, and you had to keep paper and pencils. And sometimes, keeping it all managed, we had what was called a Trapper Keeper. And so the Dawson Creek Trapper Keeper, you weren't cool unless you had a Dawson Creek Trapper Keeper. I know somebody named Eric. I mean, he basically almost took over the whole school with his Dawson Creek Trapper Keeper. He had pencil case and this and that and was buying all the accessories. But yes, the Dawson Creek Trapper Keeper was everywhere, and James Vanderbeek was one of the big reasons why. So I really don't know much about James besides Dawson's Creek and Varsity Blues. I know that he did some other shows he had been in, but other than that, I don't really know much about him. Again, R.I.P. to him and his family. I know that he had 6 kids. I know a few celebs have come out and have said very nice words about him, but yeah, Varsity Blues, like I said, one of my favorite, my brother's favorite of all time. So, and I'm very happy, I will say, that we did a Varsity Blues episode. That was my first show of this new semester, was talking about Varsity Blues. and about the impact of the movie. So I'm very happy that we got to do that we got to speak about the greatness of the movie, because it is a great movie, one of the best movies of all time. And so I was going to have a clip ready. I don't, what I'll remember for James Van Der Beek is always going to be this saying right here. So let me get it going for you folks out there. You can hear one of my favorite sayings of all time, and I tell people it all the time. Here you go. Playing a clip. Yes, folks, a little remix there. I don't want your life. Because like I said, that's what the whole character was about. He was being told that he basically had to live up to the same standards his dad was in playing football and doing this and that, but he wanted to break free. He wanted to go to Brown. He wanted to do other stuff than play football. So as he told his dad, I don't want your life. If I could get a good clip of him saying John Mock is just one person, I would be doing that. But unfortunately, I don't have it. So that will be for today. But again, thanking my brother for letting me know. He literally let me know within seconds before I saw it on Facebook. So I don't know if he knew somebody who knew James and he put that out there. But yes, folks, again, R.I.P. James Van Der Beek. But he's reunited with some of his fellow Varsity Blues cast with Paul Walker and Billy Bob. Billy Bob! Billy Bob! Billy Bob! So hopefully they're having a little Varsity Blues reunion up there. But yes, folks, so let's get into today's theme. But before we do that, I do got to play my intro because, since I started with Dawson's Creek, I didn't get to play my other intro, which I've been playing a lot. So let's do the official intro, folks, for No Bonez About It show as I do some things here. Yes, folks, again, welcome for all of you out there in the Facebook and the TikTok universe. Again, today we're going to talk about Abe Lincoln, heroes, favorite childhood restaurant, alien sightings, all that and more. So, we're in for today. I'm getting some things in. Wow, 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 wow. Ah, yes, folks, one of my favorite intros. I wish I actually made that intro, but like I said, I cannot take credit for that smooth jazz intro. The 80s was all about that smooth jazz intro. Like I said, that was the famous Night Court intro, so I know that they brought back Night Court. I don't know if they're actually redoing another season of it, but the original Night Court from 1984 to 1992 was amazing. So yes, folks, if you ever have a chance to watch it, please do so. But yes, so what is our theme for today? If anybody did not see on social media, was that for today I posted that we are going to be talking about a few different things. One is that, yes, folks, it is Abe Lincoln's birthday. So happy birthday, Abe Lincoln. Or Abraham, as some people know him as, or Big Abe, Honest Abe, whatever you'd like to call him. So we're going to talk a few things about Abe because, yes, there's facts everybody knows about, but there's some things that have been rumored about Abe Lincoln, some question marks. And let me just say, folks, from the beginning, these are not true. They are rumors. They're just things that have been heard through the internet, so I am not saying they're true. So, hey, it's up to you to do your own research to figure out. But like I said, Mr. Lincoln has been passed away for almost 200 years, so... Well, no, I guess not almost 160 years, so... But yes, not sure, but just some stories that I've heard about the Abe. It doesn't mean it's true. But I do have some historian friends, so they may be able to confirm what it is in their research. So we'll talk Abe Lincoln. It is National Heroes Week, and before that I've done some heroes. So we're going to talk about some unsung heroes today, because everybody knows the most popular, famous people. What about those people you take for granted, the little things in life that you don't think about? Yes, folks, hey, we're going to make you think today. Well, also, my discussion topic is going to be your favorite childhood restaurant. Ooh, that's see, I feel like mine are still my favorite restaurants now, but it doesn't matter because we'll go more into it. Sometimes you gotta look at. I tell you, folks. Sometimes I write myself a message, and then I don't know what it is I wrote. As somebody, I like to write a lot. When I'm just writing quick, for me, I write a lot of chicken scratch, because I don't want other people to be able to read it. And then I'll go back and I'm like, what did I write? So yes, let me type this here. So, yes, folks, again, let's start off a little bit of Abraham Lincoln. Yes, folks, it is Abe Lincoln's birthday. Big Abe. Oh, Big Abe, what will you do, Abe Lincoln? That's my Abe Lincoln song. So, where are my facts about Honest Abe here? So, here we go, folks. As the basic facts, Abe Lincoln was elected as the 16th president in 1860, becoming the first Republican president. He served during the Civil War, was re-elected in 1864, and was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth in April of 1865. So again, that's the stuff that everybody knows about. He was known for his integrity, earning the name Honest Abe. But we'll go more into that. Yes, he was the first president to be assassinated, dying on April 15th, 1865, after being shot at Ford's Theater. And yes, he does appear on a U.S. $5 bill. So those are some facts that nobody can really, talk about or really argue, because it's right there. But as I said, there's some information we're going to go over today that may be fact, maybe fiction. It's like you got to determine what's fact, what's fiction here on the No Bonez About It show, because I like to throw a lot of ideas out there. And like I said, I do a lot of my own research on the internet, as some people call it. Is all of it true? Probably not. But I got to go and I got to figure it out, folks. Same with you. You have to go on and do your own research sometimes. So yes, let us do that. But let's get an actual song going to start out with, because, as I said, sometimes I do forget that this is a radio show. Radio? Who wants to be on the radio? You all can be in the radio, because as I always say, folks, you want to be on No Bonez About It show, just give me a call in the studio, 717-871-7075. I can't take your call live, but you can talk to me when I'm playing a song. Hit me up on Facebook or TikTok or on Instagram or Twitter. Or if you have a song request, do so, folks. Go to our webpage, 917theville.com. And in the song request, write me a message. I like all that. But I'm not sure if my dad is on yet. He said he was going to start listening for today. Uncle Randy, give you a shout out. Yes, my Uncle Randy. Well, yes, folks, I will share that first. So, yes, as we all know, we are a big Bigfoot researcher here. So my Uncle Randy did send me a message last night, because he is in the big California, so there it's not as late, so when he sent me a message. But yes, folks, I guess I already missed it, so it's very sad, but he sent me a nice poster for something I missed. It was the Bigfoot Discovery Day 6, Saturday, October 16th. So BFRO investigators and witnesses discussed present Bigfoot search and emphasis. That was in Santa Cruz back on October 16th. If I could have went, folks, I could have. But I can't step foot in California. Trust me, we're not going to go all into details today. Nothing bad. I'm not going to. So there you go. But let's get started with a little music for today. As my dad and I like this man. Again, this man can do everything. He can build homes, oil, is the bounty man, can just go through a t-shirt a day. And he also recorded an album on the top of the summit of Denali. So here you go, folks. A little bit of Marty Rainey. The song is beautiful. Here on the No Bonez About It show, folks. Keep on listening. Keep on supporting WIX. Don't forget that Q, 91.7 FM, Radical Renown, Real College Radio. Yes, folks, we're going. Man, people got to turn down, you can hear my other speakers. I got to turn that down, folks, real quick. We don't want other things going off now. I don't know who that is, but they like my thing. There we go, folks. Had it turned down. I was getting some backfeed from the speakers over there, so there you go. Oh, but I hope you're having a great day today so far. Again, we're just 20 minutes into the episode. Listen to the music, 917theville.com. Again, right now we're listening to a little bit of Marty Rainey. Beautiful. Beautiful. Where's my water? See, I take drinks like right now when the song's playing. a good song, folks. Oh, yes. Marty Rainey, beautiful. And we'll get some Abe Lincoln facts. Again, if you want to listen to the music, you actually have to go and listen to our station. Right now, you're watching me live in the studio here on Facebook or on the TikTok. And that's nice, folks. But in the end, I want you to listen to our station. Go, watch us live. Listen to us live. Go to 917theville.com. Or you can stream us on the TuneIn or Radio FX app. Or if you're in a 20-mile radius of Millersville University, folks, you can play it live in your car, 91.7 FM. FM, yes. I still never really looked into the difference between FM and AM. I just know FM has all the stations, and AM has like more talk stuff. But I've never spent time looking into that. I guess I should one of these days. Especially since I'm in the radio business. Oh! Sunrise! I got gum, folks. Look at that. I have like 3 packs of gum in my pocket. That's perfect. Never know when you need gum. It's a good song. Beautiful. And yes, folks, that's our friend Marty Rainey on top of Mount Denali. Hey, beautiful, here on the No Bonez About It show, folks. And as I said, we're talking about a little bit of Abe Lincoln today. Old Abraham Lincoln. So, one of those facts that may be a fact, and may not be a fact, folks, because we're not sure, is that, a lot of people know that Abraham Lincoln was our tallest president. But, it's in perspective. So, yes, he was, at today's standards, he was listed at 6'4". But, folks, people forget. Human beings were smaller in the 1800s. People lived shorter. So life expectancy was way, again, what we would consider young in 2026 would not be in 1864. So, living to be 30 in 1864, you were old age. So, yes, Abraham Lincoln was 6'4" based on our time. But going back in his days, he's really like 5'6". So you have to remember, back in those days, your hat was part of you. So wearing the hat, actually, they considered that part of your being. And so whenever he would go to his annual exam, he'd get measured, and that get counted into it. So really, Abraham Lincoln was really maybe about 5'6" to 5'8". But between the hat and just adjusting for inflation nowadays, that's what got him to 6'4". Now, would that make him the tallest president based on today, people today? No. But based on his time, yes, he towered over people. It's just sort of like the story of David and Goliath. Goliath was really maybe like 7 feet tall. But in, those days, they saw him as like 50 feet tall because most people were only 3 to 4 feet tall. It's all about perspective. People forget about that things change. And so what we consider, old, it was young then. What we consider boring, there is exciting. What we consider scary is not scary. Again, the world was once considered flat, and we realized it was not. We didn't realize that we thought that the sun revolved around us, not that we revolved around the sun. We didn't know about gravity. So it's all about perspective. So yes, folks, was Abe Lincoln really 6'4"? Again, based on what we perceive nowadays, yes. But in reality, maybe 5'8", because again, your hat was part of your body. So they actually considered that when measuring you. Which, hey, I know some people now who they'd wear lifts in their shoes, they could put a hat on too, and they would probably add it to their height. Again, I always wanted to be 6'4", 6'5". So if I was told that they take my hat into consideration, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to add that onto my height. So, that's something we'll think about. Maybe we'll talk to one of my doctor friends and see their perspective on letting you wear a hat to get you taller. Because, folks, hey, who doesn't want to be taller? I don't know. I guess if you're already 7 feet tall, you don't want to. But I'm 6'1". I'd like to be 6'4" again. So then I can elbow people better, and then someone who's shorter can ask me what the weather's like, and I can say mild, very nice like that, or cloudy, have a chance of meatballs. I'll have some funny comeback like that. But here we go, folks. It's 2:19. Let's do this. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with some more Lincoln facts here on the No Bones About show, folks. Keep on listening, keep on supporting WIX. Don't forget the Q for a shock. The snapper, folks. Listen, a little snapper commercial. Yes, folks. It is a good day. Again, it's still sunny. I think it's going to be sunny till like 5:40. Somebody told me it's nice. Again, nice to get the sun back. I can see here a little ace of base. I saw the sign, and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. Or the sun, as somebody say it. Life is demanding without understanding. I saw the sign, and opened up my eyes. Hey, we're having a good time here on the No Bones About show. I like to sing and dance, pull a show on for you all. We'll be back live on here in about 30 seconds, so I got some time here just to sit, relax, take my hat fell off. Folks, it's hot in here, but I can't have the fan on the cool because it just makes too much sound. Maybe I'll grow my beard like Abe Lincoln. We'll see. Yes, folks, and we're back on the No Bones About show. I was just singing for everybody here on the Facebook and the TikTok that I saw the sun. Because I saw the sun and opened up my eyes. I saw the sun because I believe sunsets around 5:40ish tonight. Let me see. Let's check our AccuWeather. Where's Grace at? Grace, when's the sun gonna set? I guess it depends on where you're at. She's down in Alabama, and then we're up here in Pennsylvania. But let's see. What time is the sun setting today? Let's see. Sunset. 5:37. So yes, folks, 5:37. I mean, there's a time the sun was basically set at 4 o'clock. 5:37, that means we'll be at 6 o'clock pretty soon. Again, hey, I'm excited. Again, the pond's unfreezing. The ducks, swans, they can move a little bit better. Because they were really restricted. It was probably about a 4-by-foot maybe hole of water. They 10 to 12 ducks and 2 swans were sharing. So it was very sad. I mean, they were sleeping. They were having a good time. But, you know, the water now it's up to about 20 feet by 10 feet. So they've got more water. It's only going to get better. Next week it's going to be in the 40s and the 50s. So let's go, Team Ducks and Team Swans. Get your pond back for you. So that's it, folks. We're telling some Lincoln stories because, again, I'm not saying that these are true. I'm just saying these are things that I've heard. And so it's up to you, then, to go and do your own research. Again, we went over to true statements. And so another Abe Lincoln, this is truth, is that Abraham Lincoln was the first bearded president. Was the first president to have a beard. Which I guess back in those days, that was a big thing. Well, it's kind of weird because a lot of pictures you see people with beards. But I guess maybe because of just royalty reasons, like it was seen better to shave. That's why when everybody asks, why did everybody have white hair back in the day? No, folks, like you shaved your head and you wore a wig. Everybody wore wigs. Why was that? Because of lice. Makes sense. Again, back in the days, health standards, you know, so people didn't want to give lice to each other, so they shaved their head and wore a wig. Again, I'm not saying no to that because it does make sense. But yes, Abe Lincoln was the first bearded president. But there's a few rumors about why he wore that beard. You know, one of them was that he started growing it after an 11-year-old girl named Grace suggested he would make him look better. Yes, folks, Abe Lincoln was not ranked as one of the better-looking presidents. I know that Kyle himself, my friend Kyle, you know, he'd been ranked as not a better-looking guy, but he said, hey, you know what, Abe Lincoln wasn't the best-looking guy, but look at him, he became president. So it's true that, folks, hey, you know, beards can definitely change a person. It's funny when you look at online videos of people who have big beards and when they shave for the first time and their family freaks out, like a little kid, first time they ever saw their dad without a beard, they're like, well, who is that guy? And you don't think about beards making that big a change, but if you have a bigger beard, it is unique. And so, you know, every picture I see of Abraham Lincoln, he has a beard. But imagine him without the beard, without the hat. It's just a young hipster, like, ready to fight and get in trouble in school. It's a whole thing to even imagine. So, yes, that was one story. Another story was that was Abe Lincoln, but he was hiding his weak spots. So, as we all know in history, you know, certain figures who were seen to be untouchable, they actually had, like, a weak spot. So, in this case, Achilles, his heel was bad. Samson, his hair. So Abe Lincoln, I guess, had a weak chin, someone had said, and that during his youth, he had got knocked out a lot, or when playing, or even in sports. And so, because of that, he figured he covered up his beard a bit. It would make it a little harder for to get knocked around for someone to punch it and make it less likely somebody would discover his weak spot. So, that was one theory going around. That was his weak spot. Another was that he had a condition that just it kept growing, which, well, that folks, I think that's true. I think most of us just keep growing hair, especially beard hair. So that's a true thing. So yeah, those are big stories that I heard. I don't know about again. I'll have to ask. So there's nobody alive nowadays to ask if they ever met Lincoln, or if he had a weak spot and if it was his chin. All I know is that not by the hairs of my chinny chin said the three little piggies to the wolf. Um, let's see what else. There's another one. A little unknown fact is that Abraham Lincoln did not have a middle name. And the reason for that, folks, is because he didn't believe in middle names. So no one knows really the origin of the middle name. Because really, where does that come from, the origin of a middle name? My name is Matthew Rutkowski, or DJ Bones, as you may call me out there. But I have a middle name. I never understood the point of a middle name. What is the point of a middle name? But I guess that Abe had a middle name at one time and took it away because he didn't want a middle name. So let's look it up real quick. What is the origin? Why do we have middle names? Why? Let's see. Because I guess I never really asked about why do we have middle names. What does the Google say? I trust the Google. Middle names exist primarily to provide unique identification, honoring family heritage, or for personal preference. Historically, they grew in popularity during the 13th century European revival of Roman traditions and became practical for distinguishing people with similar names as populations grew. Okay, I do understand that similar names thing. There are a lot of people, I know a lot of John Smiths. I don't know many Matthew Rutkowskis, so yeah, I guess if you have 10 John Smiths, if you all have different middle names, you call you by your middle name. So, you know what? That makes sense. So I guess how many Abraham Lincolns there are out there. So you know what? I can understand Abe not wanting a middle name. So I can believe that one. So Abe Lincoln did not have a middle name. What would it have been? I don't know. What was it beforehand? I didn't see what was listed as one of his middle names. Abraham Johnson Lincoln. I don't know. But I'm going to guess it was because he wanted to stand out from the crowd, especially from back in those days. Again, being that he was 6'4" in those standards, but really 5'8". I don't know, folks. That's just my theory on the matter. But let's get another song going. As I said, folks, it's also National Heroes Week. And, again, there's a lot of people that are easy to pick up as heroes, but we like the unsung heroes. Hey, but I do like a nice song of a hero in it, and it's called Skillet, folks. Yes, one of the first songs I heard by the band Skillet in 2009. This is the song Hero here on the No Bonez About show, folks. Keep on listening, keep on supporting WIXQ. Don't forget that cue. It's a good song. Hero. Do-do. It's a good song. I like Skillet. They've, for a band I really never heard of until 2009, and then their album came out, and it was really good. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Till the world moves out, I need a hero to save me now, folks. Again, right now, listen to Skillet Hero, No Bonez About show. Just in time. Gotta add that in there, just for some fun. I'm not super. Save me now, folks. Save me just in time. A hero. We're all heroes of somebody. That's true. Thank you for said that. not ready to die. I need a hero, folks. I need a hero believing in me. Just in time, folks. Save me now. It's a good song. Just in time. We're almost ready to go back on the air. Ow. Bit my gum. I need a hero, folks. Yes, folks, a hero is going to save me just in time here on No Bones About a Show. That was Skillet, again, from their 2009 album Awake, which is the first album I ever heard of them. And I really do like their music. There's just something about them. It's good music. The songs are catchy. Are they the most sophisticated band? No. But they make very good songs, folks. And really, hey, what's the point of music is to entertain or uplift or whatever you want to. For me, songs keep me busy. They keep me entertained. That song did. So, you know what? We like that song here on No Bones About a Show. As I said, we're talking Abraham Lincoln. So as we know, folks, he did have the nickname of Honest Abe because of he's known for his integrity. But that was not always a good thing. So even though, yes, it is true that he was known as Honest Abe, it kind of got him in trouble. A few times his friends and him would get in trouble. So the one time they stole, their neighbor's butter. And so, of course, Abe told on everybody. And so they all got punished for it. Also, during his college years, they had pulled a prank on one of the professors by changing his food out with, I believe it was, I forget what it was. But again, he told on everybody. And so a lot of him and his classmates got in trouble, almost failed out, but he did do well. So yes, honesty is good. But also, ratting on your friends at the same time for just more harmless things, I don't know. Like, I value honesty, but I also value being loyal to your friends. And, for something harmless like that, is it worth it to tell on them? I don't know. If he told on them for personal gain, nah, it's not very friend-like, Honest Abe. So, yes, Honest Abe is the nickname, but how did he really get that name, folks? I don't know. So one of the bigger things that I've found out about Abe, and this has been very controversial, I've found out on the internet, especially in the cryptoids and ghosts and just paranormal activity, is Abe's involvement with vampires. So yes, folks, as we all know here, vampires are real, and if they were in U.S., they would be in a Sylvania, so Pennsylvania. I'm Team Werewolf, so I've never been a big Team Vampire guy, but I do appreciate what the vampires bring to the table. But there are some rumors, again, that Abe Lincoln was involved with basically trying to end the idea of vampirism. And so, one of the things I'd found research online here telling a story about Abe Lincoln and, again, things that weren't covered in your history books. Because, yes, folks, it is true. History, a lot of times, is written from the winner's perspective. And so, if they want to hide something, they can do so, especially in those days when we didn't have cameras and people didn't see everything. So, there wasn't as many people. So if one person saw something, wrote it in a book, and said it's true, a lot of people believed it. So hey, maybe this is the case. Again, folks, nothing I'm saying I don't know. I don't think is true, but who knows? It could be. It's a conspiracy. That's the thing about conspiracies is who knows if it's true or not. Maybe some is true, some is not. I cannot tell you it's true. I can just tell you to do your own research to figure it out. So what I've read about Abe Lincoln and vampires is this. So around 1818, Abe Lincoln lived in Indiana with his parents, Nancy and Thomas, who worked at a plantation owned by a guy named Mr. Bartz. I guess that during the time, Lincoln befriended a young boy who was a slave at the time and intervened whenever he was getting beaten. Well, because of that, his parents got fired because of it. So later that night, I guess that a young Abe, because how old would he have been in 1818? I'm off the top of my head, I guess he saw the owner break in and attack the family, and basically, when he woke up the next day, his mom was very sick and passed away. So because of that, seems that Lincoln wanted to actually go get revenge with Mr. Bartz, and so he went to go attack him. But when he did, he ended up finding out that he was a vampire. How did he find out? Well, because, folks, he had fangs and could fly around. But thankfully, he actually met a guy named Henry who he actually met earlier at the bar whenever he was drinking before he was going to attack him. So basically, Henry offered to help teach Lincoln how to fight paranormal activity, how to fight others, and fight vampires specifically. So they spend quite a bit of time, maybe 5 to 10 years, just training. And so they actually then go to Springfield, Illinois, and you find out more that a lot of the vampires are from the South, and so they're living down in the New Orleans area. And also that the weakness of vampires is silver, which again, I've always wondered, I think we talked about before the whole silver thing. Why is silver bad for werewolves? Why is silver? And so again, I was always told is that because from a religious perspective, silver represented, Judas turning in Jesus for silver, and so silver represented evil or something like that. Is what I was told. So Henry gave Lincoln a silver pocket watch. In Springfield, Lincoln became hunting vampires, but also he would meet his eventual wife, Mary Todd. And even though Henry warned him about forming relationships, sort of because your enemy's going to attack you, he decides that, hey, you know what? He really likes this girl and he wants to keep going with it. Sort of just like, the whole point of why superheroes keep their identity. Because, yes, they're a superhero. They can't be harmed. But as Spider-Man would say, Spider-Man has Mary Jane. He has his aunt. He doesn't want them getting hurt. So, again, during this time, it turns out that Lincoln finds out Henry is actually a vampire himself. And that, the reason why he recruited Lincoln is because vampires can't kill other vampires. And so the only way that he could ever get revenge on the man who turned him was for Lincoln to get him. Which is interesting, the whole vampires can't kill vampires. It's, again, maybe I don't know any vampire personally, so that's why I don't know if this story is true or not, but I have heard that in quite a few different circles. Again, because of this, Lincoln felt very betrayed, and so, he decided I'm going to end it. And from that time, he decides, you know what, I'm going to marry Mary Todd and get involved in politics. There you go. So then, he starts climbing up the ladder, ends up getting elected president, moves into the White House, and so during that time, even though it was pretty much over, his young son actually got attacked by a vampire. And so that kind of rekindled his, I'm going to attack this person. I'm going to get back to my vampire hunting days. And so basically during the Civil War, it turns out a lot of vampires were running in the South and working with them. So between Lincoln, between his wife Mary Todd, between Henry, they're actually able to take down the vampires, give silver to the Union armies, and basically take down what would have been a vampire army which nobody could have stopped. So that's what I heard and told, is that, that was Lincoln's part in helping decline the vampires' numbers. Now, folks, we still have vampires nowadays. There's always reports coming out of all over the world. But, again, if Lincoln had not done that, the whole world would just be vampires, which there's a movie about the whole world being vampires, very interesting. Again, I don't know the truth to it. Some of this does seem it could have happened. There are, the one thing that, again, there was no internet, which just because it's on internet doesn't make it true, but people were spread out. People still weren't sure of things. We hadn't discovered most of the animal creatures, most species by 1800s, and so, what's the case of this being accurate? I don't know. But for myself, I believe in what I read that, yes, Abe Lincoln was a major vampire hunter and that he helped reduce the numbers and keep us safe. And so for that, I'm going to salute Mr. Lincoln because, again, I don't want to be a vampire. I would have been a werewolf. Werewolf to me is cooler than a vampire. To each their own. So again, thank you, Mr. Lincoln, for helping us and helping to make sure that we are not all vampires. So let's do this, folks. It is 2:38, and let's get another commercial going. So, quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with some music. What music do we want to play? Let's see. What do we want to come back with after the break? How about we do a little bit of Rammstein? Hey, Lincoln, Rammstein. What a battle. What a cool group there. The Lincoln Rammstein experience. I like it. So, commercial, Rammstein. To hear that more on WIXQ. Don't forget that Q917 FM, radical renowned Real College Radio. We got it. I always have one song ready to go and start playing. I always forget about it. I gotta be better at not letting that song play when I'm trying to play commercials. The board game club books. I said I've learned to appreciate board games a bit more in my past 10 years. I thank Chris for that. WIXQ. Again, we got some commercials playing right now. I'm back with some more music. Woo! Okay, let's go back, folks. Let's get back in here. A little bit of Rammstein. I love me some Rammstein. Yes, folks, we're back. And again, as I said, let's do a little bit of Rammstein. So here you go, folks. It is Du riechst so gut here on the No Bonez About show. What does that mean? You smell so good by Rammstein? Hey, it's all German, folks. Do your best to learn it. Rammstein! Got some Rammstein. Du riechst so gut. I am not good at German, folks. Rammstein. I don't know why some songs, like don't save, but it's okay. Rammstein. I'm gonna learn German fully, folks, but I've been saying, it's so hard to learn so many different languages, so I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna be able to. Ugh. I think I injured my nose the other night, but hey, you know what, folks? Had a really good night at MMA Club on Tuesday night. Got some good rolling in. I'm going to try to go back tonight because I didn't get to go to the gym this morning because I woke up a little late. So I get to go do some training tonight. We'll go live there one of these days. I'll tell you when. Again, right now I listen to a little bit of Rammstein. Du riechst so gut. While you do that, I'm going to check something here because I get a lot of messages on my personal account. Du riechst so gut. Du riechst so gut. Rammstein, folks. Do 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 do. So you play good music when you're bopping your own head to it. So many people, like, I don't know how they just stay still in the studio. Like, I gotta play and bop to the music. Nice. Don't I dear. Rammstein, folks. Du riechst so gut. Again, right now I'm answering some questions. I am currently at my full-time job right now. So I do get some messages I gotta respond back to. So if you see me, like I said, staring at you, it's because I'm looking at an email. Or a message came up on my phone or my computer. Right now, that's what I'm answering. Dory, so good. Folks, what kind of laundry, basically, I use any laundry detergent, folks. Random question, what laundry detergent do you prefer? To me, I really can't tell difference. As long as it cleans, I'm happy. But I know some people are very, like, they want to have that specific laundry detergent. To me, I'm not eating it. I'm not putting it in my mouth. I don't care. As long as it cleans my stuff. But I'm also not allergic to anything. Do re, so good. Oh, re, so good. Here we go here, folks. Again, sometimes you got some things. Eh. Okay, get back on the air. We're going back live on the air, folks. Hey, it's all about the show. Okay. Yes, folks, a little bit of Rammstein. Du riechst so gut here on the No Bonez About show. Like I said, one of my favorite bands of all time. And people say, hey, you don't understand the lyrics. Well, yes, folks, I am not a German. I don't really understand German language that well. I do know some stuff, but it doesn't matter. Good music is good music, and like I said, you don't have to know all the lyrics. That's the good thing about being a fan of death metal, is that you don't have to know the lyrics to enjoy it. If you do actually know the lyrics, that makes it even better. But as I said, I know my Spanish more than I know German. I took many years of Spanish, and I'm pretty good at conjugating Spanish, but I'm not good at speaking it, folks. I don't speak my own language, English, well. So learning a second language, very tough for me, very tough. But we'll do two more Lincoln facts. And so, this one, again, pretty nice. But yes, folks, Lincoln was an animal lover, which I do like to hear that, I'm somebody who also enjoys animals, particularly cats. And he once halted a cabinet meeting to ensure the safety of stray kittens. And see, I can respect that because I also once, as I believe I said in the air, there was a duck family that were walking down our main road here, and I wanted to make sure that they got to the pond safely. So, what was maybe half a mile took 3 hours because the duck was really walking slow. So I walked behind the mama duck and I think it was like 8 babies for about 3 hours while other cars went around me, honked. Even my own boss was laughing and pointing at me. But you know what, folks? I didn't want to see the duck get hurt. So I can respect that. And so, yeah, so Lincoln was a big animal lover. And what people didn't know is that Abe Lincoln actually kept a pet bear at the White House. Yeah, people may not have known that, but yes, Abe Lincoln did have a pet bear there, Henry the Bear. So Henry the Bear, which is funny because I just told you about his friend Henry, who helped him fight vampires. So, did he name the bear after Henry? I don't know. See, that kind of makes maybe that conspiracy is true. But yes, he had a pet bear, and so he'd bring him out for like when they had foreign dignitaries come over. He would wear the hat. He would wrestle him because, yes, folks, Abe Lincoln was actually in his young days a pretty good wrestler, which is very. I never would have thought about that. That again, I don't really think of except for Teddy Roosevelt, because Teddy Roosevelt was known for being pretty tough and for fighting and had a boxing background. But yes, and so Lincoln he did wrestle the bear sometimes, and that makes sense. If he has a wrestling background, a competitor, fighting vampires, you got to wrestle and train on something. Now, this one I find the most interesting, especially again with me and Lincoln being connected, is the fact that Lincoln and his wife, Mary Todd, reportedly held seances in the White House. Now, again, this feeds more into my idea of Lincoln being a vampire hunter. But I can tell you, folks, I once held my own seance as well. Me and Brady, or B. Joseph, as we call him, at my college. We had went to an illusionist and they did some tricks, and so we decided that we were going to try to do our own illusions in our room. And so we looked up some spells, some things like that. I don't want to say what we all got into at the time. This is 2005, 2006. So we spent about 3 hours trying to summon something, which if we actually summoned something, folks, what would we have done? Run and hide. But afterwards we gave up. We started hearing sounds, and then all of a sudden, I'm sleeping on the top bunk, he's on the bottom, and our closet door just comes flying open, and he flies out the door. Me in the top bunk, I knew that I was in trouble. I was going to get away. And so I just slept that way. I woke up the next day with our door wide open. So, but yes, that's very interesting. Like, again, who was Abe Lincoln trying to call? That's something I got to look more into because this is one of the first times I heard about Abe Lincoln being involved with seances. So, who knows? Was he trying to call on former presidents? Was he trying to summon the spirits of the vampires so he could battle them? Again, we don't know. This is over 160 years ago, but it doesn't mean we can't think it. It doesn't mean we can't question it because, hey, you know what, folks? Question everything. As a good friend of mine once said, don't believe anybody over 30. And who was that good friend? Abraham Simpson. No, I'm joking. It was Homer Simpson. So, but hey, you know what? Abraham Simpson. I never got that. I wonder if he got named after Abraham Lincoln. See, things you don't think about, and then all of a sudden you just put two and two together, and you're like, that makes sense, folks. Yes, it does make sense. So, but you know what? We got time. Let's get another song going. We got time here today. What do we want to play? Let's do. Again, folks, you may have heard me say that yes, unfortunately, in 2 days we do have Valentine's Day. I do not like Valentine's Day. You've heard me do many a shows, but I don't like Valentine's Day. I'm very anti-Valentine's. Never understood it, folks. Again, it's a Hallmark holiday. You shouldn't have to have a day to love somebody or give them love. You should show them love sporadically throughout the years. So, I'm not a Valentine's Day fan. For that reason, we always have to do anti-Valentine's songs. And so one of my favorite buddies, again, folks, I do some DJing. Well, he was actually a wedding singer. And so he got a little mad at a wedding, and so he started singing Love Stinks by Jay Giles Band. And you know what? I respect that enough. I'm going to play it myself so we can do that. So here you go, folks. It is the Jay Giles Band, a little bit of Love Stinks. You probably know the song from the wedding singer. Here on the No Bonez About show, folks. Keep on listening, keep on supporting. Not just me, all DJs here at WIXQ. Bump, bump. Love Stinks. Da, da. Love Stinks. It is a good song. I really do enjoy a song. But like I said, I like a lot of the 80s music. But again, Jay Giles Band, Love Stinks. We're having some fun here at No Bonez About show. Keep on listening, keep on supporting. Hey, I've played 4 songs in an hour. That's pretty good for me. Because one thing's for sure. Love stinks. Stinks. Love stinks. Love stinks, folks. Yeah, yeah. Again, Jay Giles Band, Love Stinks. Yeah, yeah. It's a good song. It's a good song, folks. I like this song. It's a good song to move to. I'm going to try 2 pieces of gum from 2 different types of gum. I haven't done this since my young days, folks. We'll see how, if I start freaking out in the air, let me know. Send a video. Love stinks. Really, what gets me, through work, when I work long hours, just 1 piece of gum, it loses the flavor, but just chewing it, hey, it keeps my mouth, my mouth muffles good. But if I have to be somebody where I have to be quiet for a lot of time, hours, just having that piece of gum, it stops the urge of me wanting to scream. Because I don't know about you all, but sometimes when you just want to say something, or you just want to talk and you can't, and you're building it all up. Love stinks. Love stinks. Love stinks. Love stinks. Again, Jay Giles Band, Love Stinks, we'll listen to right now. How much time we got left, folks? Got about 30 seconds left in the song. We'll start getting other things queued. Love stinks. Love stinks, folks. Yes, folks, love stinks here on the No Bones About show here on WIX. Don't forget the Q. And I said it before again. I don't know. I mean, cards. You know, I understand cards. People like getting cards, and it's funny because I don't send cards, but yet I keep all the cards I get. People say, you know, DJ Bones, why do you have so many cards hung up on your wall? Because even though I don't do cards, and I'm not somebody who's going to write my emotions out there, I appreciate if someone took the time to write me a card, I'm going to save it and I'm going to respect it because they took that time, and it's like 60 cents to send a postage stamp nowadays. So you spent 60 cents to send me a card. I'm gonna respect that. So yes, I've got cards in my office now. I got a little Valentine's card for my niece. Made my day. I'm very happy about that. So thank you, Jess, for giving that. So for letting me have that. I was very thankful. Hey folks, I do the soft side, so I know it's hard to see sometimes being the old DJ Bones. But comes to my niece, she gets away with anything. But yes, I just don't get the point of Valentine's Day. As I said, every day you should appreciate if you're with somebody, and with that, you do need a day to tell you, hey, you should get this person a card or flowers. I never understood the flowers thing because you kill the flower, so you're giving somebody a dying flower. So that's where I always kind of thought it was weird. Yeah, it smells nice, but you can give somebody a wax melt and it has a nice floral smell to it. So I never understood the whole give it flowers. Like, here you go, I just killed this plant, I'm going to give it to you as a treat. Now, chocolates, I understand, folks, because as somebody who loves chocolates, and yes, I did eat all my Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies. A shout out to Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies. Little Brownie Baker specifically, they are the best. I did eat them all. But, someone gives me some chocolate, yeah, it's going to make me, I'm happy. I'm like, hey, you know what? You gave me chocolates. Like, I'm never not going to say no to chocolates. I love me some chocolate. But I don't like chocolate mixed with other things. So, like, salty chocolates or chocolate pretzels, don't like. Never have. I don't like that. I love salt. I love chocolate. But to me, you're mixing two very strong flavors together. That's a tough thing for me. So, I'm not a fan of both. So, yeah, that's why, I guess that's a little bit of why I don't like the Valentine's Day. I just think that it's weird. And, hey, if you care about somebody, give them something more than once a day. But I do enjoy watching TV shows that were based around Valentine's Day and everybody, like, freaking out. And, yes, I'm not going to lie, as a kid, I loved giving Valentine's cards. I actually liked picking cool Valentine's cards to keep for myself. Now, my mom was such a big fan of doing the decorations, and she did such a good job of making our Valentine's Day boxes. Now, the biggest thing was just making sure that Jess didn't go through her chocolate. So my mom was going to make sure that she couldn't, like, when she designed a Valentine's box, that my sister couldn't put her hand in there to try to take it. And so I give my mom all the credit for that, because that was definitely tough. Fighting off Jess, I don't know, folks. Like I said before, Jess has woken up from a slumber to get chocolates. Oh, sorry, folks. Got to check something here real quick. Doop. Sometimes you got to click just to make sure you're still on the air, and I got to do that sometimes. So it is 2:57. So what we'll do is we're going to do our top of the hour commercial break here. Let me get things loaded. That is one of my favorites. So we'll do our top of the hour break. Play some commercials. We're going to talk about heroes. We're going to talk about favorite childhood restaurants. May do an alien invasion story. We'll always talk Bigfoot. We'll do a Bigfoot story, folks. That'll probably be it for the rest of the hour. Because like I said, 2 hours moves fast whenever you're just listening, having a good time, be it you traveling while I'm speaking. So yes, folks, again, let's do a commercial break. But we'll be back with more music, more talk, more fun here on the No Bones About show, folks. Live in the WIXQ studios, Millersville, PA, 1750-51. Time for a little bit of Moose Ultimate. Moose Ultimate. Thank you all for staying on for an hour so far. Moose Ultimate. Wow. What do we got here, folks? Someone sent me something. Oh, folks, let me know who your heroes are. Your unsung heroes, not like the ones your mentors. The things that you may not appreciate. Let me know about that. Hey, you've got time right now. You can look it up during a commercial break. I haven't heard from my brother yet today. Or my padre. The Midnight Oil. Ugh. Let's go back on the air, folks. Hey, folks, and as I said, we're back, 3 o'clock hour, No Bones About a Show. We're going to talk about heroes. And let's play a little bit of heroic music. This is probably my favorite songs. Now, it is a remake of the classic, but this song is at the end of one of my favorite football movies, The Replacements. And it's the Wallflowers and their version of Heroes. And let me tell you something, folks. I believe I like it better than David Bowie's version. You be the judge. So, here you go, folks. It's the Wallflowers, Heroes. No Bones About it, folks. Keep on listening. Keep on supporting WIX. Don't forget the Q, 91.7, 91.7 FM. Woo! Woo! It's a good song. Yeah, listen to the Wallflowers, their version of Heroes here on the No Bones About It Show. Nothing will keep us together, folks. We can be heroes just for one day. It's true. If you could just be a hero for one day, like if I could be a superhero just for one day, it'd be so awesome. Like I don't have to do it all the time, but one day, I could do that. There you go, folks. If you could be a hero just for one day, who would it be? It's a good question. Again, folks, it's good music. You can just bob your head. When you just fall into the music here, like, again, me just sitting here, bobbing my head. Nothing will get us together. Just for one day. Folks, just for one day. One day. Let's see. Oh! It's a good song, folks. We can be heroes just for one day. Again, people think about living a life that they don't understand, but just having it one day, just doing one good thing, being a hero to somebody just one day in your life is that's something you live with for the rest of your life. And so, just think about it. Again, have you done anything in your life that you may think is small, but for somebody else, it was heroic? Hey, we're all about this on the show. We think about these sort of things. At least I do. I don't know. My head's always spinning with just weird ideas and things. I just always think about stuff. That's just me, though, folks. Like I said, it's weird. And this shirt actually look like really big. I don't know. I am bulking up, folks, but I feel like my head looks small too. Like Beetlejuice. I don't know why. I'm just looking at the camera right now. Kind of look like it. It's like the Turtle Club from Master of Disguise. Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? So yes. So I don't know why. I think it's just the way the shirt looks. Again, I'm gonna go MMA tonight. I usually do Tuesday nights. But since I missed the gym this morning, I'm going to go tonight 7. I'll tell you, folks, I believe I like this version of the song better than David Bowie's Heroes, the Wallflowers, here on the No Bonez About show, folks. But like I said, it isn't one of my favorite movies of all time. The Replacements, I will survive. Oh, if I could, I know I will not. Okay, so, as I said, we're going to talk about some little unsung heroes, because everybody thinks of heroic things. And so, there's a lot to be said, but in all this cold that was going on, and watching, again, TV shows, I did post a video this week of just a day in the life of a young lady who lives in the coldest city in the world, Yatutsk, Russia. But it made me think of things, again, inventions that we take for granted. And one, folks, that I think most would agree that we can't live without, yes, is our toilet. And, hey, you know what? This week, one of our heroes is Sir John Harington. He is a 16th century courtier, and basically, he is the inventor of the modern flush toilet. So, his toilet allowed waste to be flushed from places of habitation to underground cesspools without direct human contact. The flushing toilet has had a miserable sanitary benefits for the modern world and World Economic Forum. So, I guess Harrington was involved in a lot of different things. And so, he was first banished from the court, which resulted in an escapade in 1584, when he translated the 28th chapter of Lodovico Ariosto's epic poem Orlando Furiosa. Harrington circulated the manuscript among the maids of honor at the court. Angered by the raciness of his translation, Elizabeth exiled Harrington and told him he would not be allowed to return to the court until he had translated the entire 40 chapters of Orlando Furioso. So during that time, that he was on exile, he basically devised and installed the first flushing lavatory, which he dubbed Ajax. Jax was an old slang word for toilet, at his Kelston Manor. So Harrington's device had a pan and a seat, with an opening at the bottom which was sealed with a leather-faced valve. Levers and weights poured water from a cistern from above the toilet. When the handle of the seat was turned, a valve at the bottom of the pan would open, and water swept the pan's contents into a cesspool below. Harrington first described his invention in his 1596 book, A New Discourse upon a Stale Subject, The Metamorphosis of Ajax, which he published under the pseudonym Miscomus, meaning hater of filth. In the book, Harrington declared that his Ajax would make unsavory places sweet, noisome places wholesome, and filthy places cleanly. So, yes, folks, I will say there's one invention that very happy about is, yes, the toilet, folks, because beforehand, yes, it is true, you would just go to the bathroom as you're walking. So you'd be walking down the street if your best buddy's going to hang out, and somebody would just relieve themselves as they're walking. But very scary to think of, but like I said, you think about animals. I mean, you look at a zoo, you watch the animals in the wild. When they got to do their business, hey, they just do their business anywhere. I mean, look at those bears on the Cottonelle commercials. Like, they use that toilet paper everywhere. They go, when you got to go, you got to go. So it's weird to think of, his invention solved a problem. A lot of inventions were made to solve a problem, not to just better society, because, again, there's a lot of things that have been invented that weren't necessarily needed, but were an improvement upon something that already existed. In this case, what really existed besides an outhouse, this really revolutionizing to be able to, dispose of waste without having to touch it and to go underground where, people weren't getting disease. It's just weird to think about. But again, these are sort of things where sometimes I say to myself, has everything great been invented already? I do believe so. I believe that, besides moving on to the next step of humanity, which would be like flying and artificial and basically turning us into digital creations, really everything's been invented. Everything that is a necessity. There's things that have been invented to better something that's already existed or to make life even more, but think of inventions that are a need, not a want. To me, a toilet is a need. It's something you need, especially if you want to live a healthy life. And so, yeah, I gotta say, Harrington, besides South Park, I never heard his name. And so, I will tell you folks, South Park gets an A for this, because I'd never heard of Sir John Harrington until South Park. Never in my life do I remember anybody ever sitting me down and talking to me about the inventor of the toilet. But like I said, it's something that you take for granted. But if you go to Mount Everest, people, a lot of people want to go travel Mount Everest, folks. Well, where do you think you're going to Mount Everest? There's no bathrooms in there. You got to relieve yourself, and you got to keep it in a bag and then take it back down with you. And Antarctica, it is freezing cold down there. You're not be able to you're not gonna be able to do stuff because of pipes underground. In space, it's got to be different as well. So just again, things we take for granted. And so for that reason, to me, one of my unsung heroes is Sir John Harrington. Another, which again, I'm going to say this is a want, not a need, is, folks, you've heard me talk about my love of Pepsi, of pop. I am from Pittsburgh. We say pop. Pop is correct, folks. Soda is not correct. I will always say pop. Now, if you say the full term soda pop, then yes, you're correct. But in the battle between pop and soda, pop is always going to win. First of all, pop. Make a pop sound. If I walk into Eaton Park in Pittsburgh and say, give me a pop, someone's going to give me a Pepsi or a Coke. And that's what I mean, folks. But I'll always take a Mountain Dew. So there's a few different people credited with around the invention of pop. So basically, we'll look at three people real quick. So first would be Joseph Priestley, who he discovered how to carbonate water by suspending a bowl over fermenting beer, absorbing the fixed air, carbon dioxide. So he's kind of credited with being the father of soft drinks. Then we've got Thomas Henry. He was in the 1770s, and he developed an apparatus to produce carbonated water in larger quantities, building on Priestley's work as noted by Britannica. So he basically kind of took it the next step. So, Priestley and basically invented the carbonated water, and then Thomas is like, you know what, I'm not going to do a little bit. I'm going to make enough so that we can do mass quantities of this good stuff. And then we have Jacob Schweppe. So in 1783, he created the first commercially successful process for manufacturing and bottling artificial mineral water, making soda widely accessible. So there you go, folks. And so because of that, the evolution of modern sodas, again, early carbonated water was used medicinally and then mixed with spirits. But later, pharmacists began adding flavors like fruit extracts. This led to the popular flavored soft drinks, with brands like Coca-Cola in 1886 and Dr. Pepper in 1885 emerging in the late 19th century. So there you go, folks. Again, just think about, I don't know, it's just weird to me to think about these things because we take it for granted like it was always here, but just imagine it's 1880 and you're just drinking water out of a river and you're like, man, wouldn't it be cool if you had flavor to it? Like, who sits there and determines... Like, you think about all these trial and error, it's sort of like when someone says, oh, you can eat so much of this before you pass away. Well, who was there sitting like, okay, well, 5 people ate this and they passed away. But 3 people ate this and they didn't pass away, so 3 is a good number. Like, can you just imagine, like, that's how people learn, trial and error, folks. And a lot of it was on your life. And so, like I said, things we take for granted. That's why I'm trying to talk about some unsung heroes. And this is one of them. So thank you for the inventors. As somebody who loves my pop, I'm always going to say thank you and give you a handshake. But let's do another, Heroes song. And this one is probably one of my favorites, folks. This is actually probably one of my favorite Green Day songs. And, it's a cover song. But it's such a good song, like I said, that I want to get the lyrics tattooed on me. Yes, folks. I've wanted these lyrics tattooed on me for a while. And so I'm going to ask my friend, maybe we can do that. So... wow. Here you go. Let me see. Is this, folks? Yes, I think this is it. So, okay, we'll do this, folks. So, yes, this is Green Day, Working Class Hero. Because, again, folks, we respect the working class. Because if they don't get the respect, going out and doing a job every day people do not respect, that makes you a hero in my mind. So, this is Green Day, Working Class Hero, here on No Bonez About a Show. Oh, good song. Such a good song, folks. Working Class Hero. Don't you hate when your pen just dies? Working Class Hero. So, folks, we're doing well today. We are doing good. Working class hero. It's something to be a working class hero. It's something to be. Again, folks, you can listen to the music, 917deville.com. I'm just listening, waiting for, it's been very quiet in the chats today. A working class hero, folks. A working class hero is something to be. Yeah, folks. A working class hero is something to be. Ooh, those look good. I might call it a biscuit. Sort of. I'm answering a question here on my phone. Oh, this is one of my favorite lyrics of the song. Love it. You ever get asked a question like, does something look good? It does. A working class hero is something to be, folks. Hero is something to be. I kind of like that word. I like the word bliss. I don't think about it. Some words you just like bliss. Bliss. I like saying it, like how it sounds. Bliss. Oh yes, folks. As I said, one of my favorites of all time, Green Day's "Working Class Hero." I just like their version of it. Again, I'm not a big John Lennon fan, but he wrote the song, so I'll give credit to Mr. Lennon. I just like Green Day's version. He took a song that a lot of people liked. I didn't, and then he made it to a song I do like, and so there you go. Unsung hero, Green Day for that song. But let's take a quick commercial break, folks. We'll talk a bit more heroes, childhood restaurants, Bigfoot, all that and more here on the No Bones About It show. I have heard the buzz around campus, folks, the Entomology Club. If you like bugs and you go to Millsville University, check out the Entomology Club, folks. They are always looking for people to help. Buzz Entomology Club. Entomology. Yeah, folks, check out the Entomology Club. FeedingAmerica.org. Hey, it's my friend. Ugh. If you want to be a hero, just follow me. Go back on the air, folks. Ow. What a hit. Yes, folks, and we're back here on the No Bones About It show here on WIXQ 91.7 DeVille. Yes, folks. We'll go back. Well, we got to say it my brother's favorite way. WIXQ. So, never unsung hero, and I think most people will appreciate this one, especially the cold temperatures. Well, of course, I lost it. Now I don't know where it went. Oh, I lost it, folks. Let me see here. You know, whenever you look up something and then you just put it down and you lost it? I lost it. Let's see. Okay, let me see here. Let's see. Here we go, folks. But with the weather the way it is, I do want to. I was looking up here, so basically give some. You know, there's a few different people, but with the cold weather, heating, folks. Again, we didn't have heating in houses all our life. People lived out in the wilderness, lived with no heating, yet survived. But we do want to know. Hey, I want to learn a bit more about Alice Parker. She's a hidden figure in modern heating. So more than 100 years ago, an inventor named Alice Parker designed an indoor heating system using natural gas that she called a heating furnace. Her innovative design, awarded patent number 1325905 on December 23, 1919, was never placed into commercial production, but still stands as a groundbreaking advance in indoor comfort. So, let's see. There really is not a lot. There's not a lot of data on Alice Parker or her life. To be sure, like a lot has been looked on in her life. There is a photo of her, and there's actually a patent of her design. But other than that, folks, we really don't know much about Alice Parker and her design of the heating. It says here, let's see. It does say here that Parker that she achieved this feat after her journey on Georgia Avenue before impacting the world. Not much is known about her personal life. So yes, Alice Parker, though, patent inventor for what was known as the first, gas heater. So Alice, you know what? I'm sorry that you didn't get the recognition that you should have got, because so many people would be thanking you right now, because I know many people who, if they didn't have heat, would be freaking out. Could I survive? Yes, folks. You know, I said that I did post a video the other day of folks, this is gonna be a good story here. Ooh, man, we have a good story here. Wow. We have a good Bigfoot update, so this is gonna be a good one, folks. But yes, inventor of modern heating. I posted that video in Russia, about the town of Yatuks, and so they have to run the heat constantly. You can never turn it off. So, like, she, the one apartment she was living in was just constant radiator heating. She said if you touch it, it would burn your skin off. But, in a city where it's -60 without heat, we'd be freezing. So there you go. But, let's get into this now, folks. I know it's a little bit early, but let's take a pause for the Bigfoot cause. Ooh, yes, folks, it's time to talk about Bigfoot. Ooh, that's right, who are we talking about? Bigfoot. Here on the No Bones About It show. And so I just saw this new report. I didn't even read this report yet. And so a new report that was just submitted on February 8th. Now, it's a new report, but it happened many years ago, folks. So a dairy farmer who was a former Marine saw a line of Bigfoots. So this happened back in the winter of 1978 in the great state of Kentucky. Nearest town was Germantown. Nearest road was Highway 10 and Walton Pike. So yes, folks, again, I'll read to you the Bigfoot report as it was submitted. And so yes, folks, if you're scared of the Bigfoot, don't worry. Bigfoot's not here to harm you. And so this is what was entered and what was submitted to the website. Again, I'll read it to you as it was sent. So, again, while preparing to milk cows, the witness observed the figures approximately 200 to 230 yards away, walking single file across a ridge line. One individual at the front of the group stopped, turned, and appeared to look directly at the witness while the others continued past. After the last figure descended the hill, the lead individual rejoined the group, and all 7 moved into a wooded creek area. The witness briefly attempted to approach the area, but stopped after 16 Holstein heifers in a nearby pasture suddenly stampeded by him. Although armed, the witness chose not to pursue further and returned to the house. He described the figures as uniformly dark, similar in size, spaced apart, and moving in a coordinated manner. No vocalizations nor smell were reported. Weather conditions were clear and sunny, with excellent visibility. The witness was alone at the time. He had no other sightings before or after his event. He has only heard other reports from the region. Due to social stigma, he did not openly discuss his sighting for over 40 years. He is now in his 70s. He was a Marine in the Vietnam War. He was very reluctant to be interviewed due to being ridiculed. But here is some of what he actually said in his quotes. So, I'll read it from his perspective. I ran down toward the stable along the fence line, thinking I might see where they went. The pasture they were heading into had trees and open ground. As I approached the creek gate, the 16 Holstein heifers I had pastured back there suddenly stampeded uphill toward me. I jumped out of the way and let them pass. That's when it hit me. There were 7 of them. Even though I was carrying a gun of 5 rounds, I realized I had no business going down there. I didn't want to shoot any of them. I turned around and went back to the house. As I said, they were dark black as far as I could tell. I didn't notice any brown or reddish tint. All 7 were roughly the same size, though the one in front appeared to be slightly smaller than the one behind it. None stood out as significantly shorter or taller. They were spaced apart, not walking shoulder to shoulder. I don't remember nothing exaggerated arm swinging. I was too focused on what I was seeing. As they started down the hill, the one in front stopped, turned, and faced me. It stood there watching while the others continued past it in single file. When the last one reached the point, that's when it turned its head and started walking with them. This sighting took place only about 8 miles as the crow flies to a rash of sightings around 1980 in Maysville, Kentucky, some of which are on file with the local police department. Mays newspaper headlines, aka the Maysville Monster. So there you go, folks. Again, this person held this in for over 40-something years. And now we're going to have to look up. I'm going to write this down. So, in 1980, in Kentucky, there was the Maysville Monster, folks. The Maysville Monster. So there you go. So thank you for that report. Like I said again, the fact that he did not want to be ridiculed for 40 years, he didn't reveal it. Now in his 70s, he felt safe to talk about the Bigfoot. That's just something that's just, again, but hey, I was made fun of when I told my first Bigfoot story, so I can understand. Thank you for that report, because like I said, here on the No Bonez About show, we love our Bigfoots, and they love us. But let's get back to some more music. And so I wanted to play this song a few days ago because I knew my brother would like this song. Even though I haven't heard from him today, so I don't even know if he's listening to the show today. But that's okay. So here you go, folks. He's a big Avenged Sevenfold fan. So this is Avenged Sevenfold, Burn It Down, here on the No Bonez About show. Keep on listening. Keep on supporting WIXQ. Don't forget that Q, 91.7 FM, Radical Renown Real College Radio. Ah. Hey. Okay, folks, out there on the Facebook and on the TikTok, it's 3:30. We're going to end it for today. We did our Bigfoot. We talked Abraham Lincoln, his vampire slaying days. We talked about heroes. So I'm going to end it for you all today. But that's okay, because, hey, just turn into the station, 917theville.com, and we'll keep it going. But for all of you in the Facebook and the TikTok universe, thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Hey, enjoy the warmer weather, folks. It's only going to get better.